This is Mrs. Grossland again. This is the second part of Unit 4, Lesson 6. So I am on this page right here, so hopefully you turned the page with me. And at this point, I think you're probably going to want to get some scratch paper if you write your numbers really big, or maybe you want some graph paper or some line paper. If you can fit it on the page, go ahead and fit it in on the page. All right, maybe a multiplication chart too. So we're going to start with number 9 right here, and I want you to think back to what we ended up with in the last video. So we said that the number of decimal places in your factor is the same as the number of decimal places in your product or your answer. So we're going to use that logic to solve these problems. So for number 9, we're going to multiply 8/10 times 6, and we're just going to pretend the decimal isn't even there, and we're going to multiply it and then put our decimal in at the end. So watch how this works. So 6 times 8, do you remember that one? 48. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4. Or maybe you knew the shortcut and just wrote the 48 down. So we had one decimal place in the factor up here. That means we're going to have one decimal place down here. And if you're wondering which way to start from, just start at the end on the right and work your way backwards. We're going to jump over to number 11 now. Again, I'm just going to multiply without paying any attention to that decimal at all, and then I'll figure out where the decimal goes in at the end. Okay, 9 times 5 is 45. Here's my shortcut way. And then 9 times 0 is 0. If you're like me, I think it kind of looks goofy to have that 0 out in front there. It's okay if you don't write that down. 2 decimal places in your factor. We're going to put 2 in our answer right here. 2 numbers after the decimal, 2 numbers after the decimal. Now looking at number 12, now they've jumped to having 2 digits in the bottom factor. Same thing, we're going to multiply just like always. We're going to pretend that decimal isn't even there, and we're going to multiply. First, I'm going to show you this one the traditional way, then I'll show you the shortcut way. All right, so I'm going to multiply by my 2 ones first. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. And if you want to do this 0 over there, you can do it. You can just leave it off too. Now we're going to multiply by the 30 or the 3/10s, and remember there isn't going to be any 1s, so we're going to put a 0 down there. 3 times 4 is 12. Put my 2 down and my 1 up. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Add them up. So 448, but don't forget to go back and put your decimal in. There are 2 decimal places up here. There's going to be 2 down here. Final answer, 4 4/48. So now look over on the right side of my screen. I have the same problem written down with the box method. Box method, you do the same thing. You pretend the decimal's not there, and then you just multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. Add my 2 zeros. 4 times 30, 120. 2 times 10, 20. 2 times 4 is 8. Write your numbers down nice and neat. Don't forget to line them up. Add it up. So 448, same logic. 2 decimal places in the factor, 2 in your answer. Same thing. So I would like to jump down to number 17 and do that one with you. And the reason why is there are 3 digits on the top and 3 digits on the bottom. Now, a lot of people would leave that 0 off, and then you would only have 2 digits on the top and 3 on the bottom. If that were the case, I would write it like this. I would put that number up on the top. But they gave it to us like this, so I'm going to show you what it's going to look like set up that way. So don't let having 3 numbers out here mess you up. First thing you're going to do, multiply by the 1. So we're going to multiply by the 9. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 1, 9. 9 times 0 is 0. And again, you can leave that 0 off if you would like to. Oops. But 9's back in there. All right. Now I'm going to multiply by that 1 in the middle. I'm going to multiply by the tens. Remember, you're going to put a 0 down because when you're multiplying by tens or counting by tens, you're not going to have any ones. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 0, 0. All right, I just got interrupted, and so I took a moment to rewrite my numbers so they're a little bit neater now. All right, so we've done the 9, we've done the 1, now we've got to do the 2 and the hundreds, and this is where you haven't had a lot of experience. So if you're multiplying by 200, think about if you're counting by $100 bills. Are you ever going to have a $1 bill? No. Are you ever going to have a $10 bill? No. So when you're multiplying by hundreds, you're not going to have any ones or your tens. So we put zeros down here to hold those places. So 200 times 1 is going to be 200. See how that looks like 200 now? Then the 200 times 10 is going to be 2,000. 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, add them up. And you get 2,409. But that's not my answer, because remember, I've got to put my decimal in there. How many numbers were in my decimal up here? 2. How many in my answer down here? 2. So really, the magic of multiplying numbers, guys, that have a decimal in them is you figure out how many numbers, how many decimals you have in your factor, and then you put the same thing in your answers. Okay? So I'm just going to look at number 25. We're not going to solve it together, but I'm going to show you how to set it up. Jesse wants to buy 24 angelfish. Each angelfish costs $2.35. What will be the total cost of the angelfish? Now, I know you could do that by adding, but do you really want to write down 24 $2.35? If you did, you'd probably get lost somewhere along the way trying to add those up. So we're going to multiply. Now, this is just a little tip, personal preference, but I like to put the longer number up on the top, like this. Sorry, not 255, 235. And then I put the smaller number underneath there like that. Okay, now just go ahead and multiply like normal. It's money, so you almost don't even need to count. You know that you're going to have 2 decimal places in your answer. All right, get started on your math homework. Try to get 75% accuracy. If you don't, go back and see if you can figure out where you went wrong. If you can't figure it out, ask a mom, ask a dad, an older brother or sister, grandma, grandpa, somebody that can help you. Good luck. Have a good rest of your day.